Okay, today we're going to be talking about transformations of functions again, but this time we're going to be dealing with exponential equations. So when we talk about exponential equations, that means our variable is in our exponent. So it's 2 to the x minus 6, and then I have a minus 3 afterwards. So essentially, it's still going to be the same as what we did with the linear. So again, if it's outside the parentheses, it's going to be vertical, and if we add, it goes up, subtract, it goes down. If it's inside the parentheses, it's going to be horizontal, and if we add, it goes to the left. If we subtract, it goes to the right. Okay. The difference is basically going to mostly be in the horizontal. Okay, because we have everything horizontally is going to go to our exponent. So let's start by looking at a horizontal. So this is adding 9 in the parentheses. So again, my original equation is 2 to the x minus 6. So if I'm going to substitute this in where the x is, it would become 2 to the x, let's see, put that in parentheses, I guess, x plus 9, and then minus 6, and then I still have this minus 3. That's not part of the exponent. Now, with linear, I said to just stop because it would require distribution and stuff like that, and the horizontal transformation kind of gets lost. But you don't really have to worry about that with exponents because there's nothing being multiplied with the x here. We just have something that's still subtracting afterwards. So I'm going to say with exponential, go ahead and simplify this. So again, these are all part of the exponent, so they're not going to go with the negative 3 or the 2 or anything like that. They're just going to simplify with everything in the exponent. So I have a plus 9 and a negative 6. So when I simplify, it'd be 2 to the x 9, positive 9, negative 6 is going to become positive 3. So x plus 3. And then I still have this minus 3 here. Okay, so that's the equation part. I still have to identify or describe the transformation. So again, I added 9 in the parentheses. Adding horizontally means you go to the left that many spots. So this went to the left 9. Okay, and those are my two answers for this problem. The new equation and then the description of what happened. Okay, let's look at when we have a vertical transformation. So again, starts off as 2 to the x minus 6 minus 3, but then it has a vertical transformation of plus 8. Okay, so it's outside the parentheses, goes to the end of your equation, so it's not part of the exponent. It's at the end of your equation, which means it's going to combine with that negative 3 that's not part of the exponent. So, and this 2 is the base, so again, it can't be part of this as it doesn't have the same exponent. But we're only worrying about combining these two. So it's going to be 2 to the x minus 6 still, but then negative 3 and positive 8 are going to combine to become positive 5, so plus 5. Okay, so it became plus 5, then I have to describe the transformation, so I'm adding out of the parentheses, which means it's vertical, and if I add vertical, it's going to go up that many spots. So this went up 8. And there's the answers for that one. Okay, let's look at where we have both. So I have x minus 12 in the parentheses, which means it's going to go to the exponent. And then I have a plus 3 out of the parentheses, which means it's going to go to the end of my equation or to the term that's not part of the exponent. So let's look at this. So my original equation was 2 to the x minus 6 minus 3. So it's going to become 2 to the x minus 12 minus 6. And then I still have this minus 3 and then a plus 3 at the end. So let's simplify these. So I have a negative 12 and a negative 6. They're going to combine to become 2 to the x minus 18. And then I have a negative 3 and a positive 3. They're going to combine to become 0, which is nothing, which means there's nothing left after the exponent. So that's just my my new equation right there, 2 to the x minus 18. But then let's describe the transformation. So I subtracted in the parentheses, which means I went to the right 12 spots. So right 12. And then I added 3 at the end, which is vertical, which means I went up 3. So right 12, up 3. There's my my final answers right there. Okay. Last one we'll do in this section. Again, two transformations. So let's set up my equation first. So 2 to the x minus 3 now, because it's in the parentheses. And then I still have the minus 6 up there. And then I have the minus 3 with a minus 8 now at the end. Okay, let's simplify these. So negative 3, negative 6 are going to become 2 to the x minus 9. Okay, and then we have negative 8 and negative 3 are going to become negative 11. Okay, so there's my equation. Then I just have to describe it. So I subtracted 3 in the parentheses, which meant I went right 3. And then I subtracted 8, which means I went down 8. Now, the common mistake that a lot of people make on these types of problems is they get the new equation and everything just fine. The problem is describing. So a lot of people will look at the new equation when they're describing, and they will see that minus 9 next to the x and say, oh, it went right 9. Okay, or they'll see that negative 11, see, oh, it went down 11. But no, I started with x minus 6, right? So the change from the original was I subtracted 3, which means I went right 3. Okay, and again, I started with the negative 3 outside, so it's not like it went down 11. I went down 8. Okay, so be careful of that. Make sure you're looking at this part, basically, when you're describing the transformations, because this is what changed. Okay, the original equation is right here. So don't look at your new equation to get the transformation. Look right here to get the